Okay, so I made the Protea Pants by Paradise Patterns and I have thoughts. Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Miracle Stitches, and today I'm going to be making the Protea Pants from Paradise Patterns. I decided that I'm going to be making view A, the pleated version. And of course, I decided to challenge myself by using plaid fabric. Have I ever plaid matched fabric? Yes, one time before, but it was so long ago. And this is also one of my first sewing vlogs for YouTube, so we're gonna be figuring this out together. Let's get into it. So I printed and cut out the pattern, and now we have the paper pattern to match our plaid. I'm gonna go ahead and get the fabric laid out, and then I'll start to see where I want to match the plaids at. Okay, so I have my pattern laid out on my fabric, and now I need to pick some points to match the plaid. And I'm thinking I'm going to choose the lengthen and shorten line here in the hip line because they're on the same points on the front and back of the pattern. Okay, so I have the lengthen, no, this is the hip line placed on one of the darker brown plaid lines, and I'm gonna use that to line up for each pattern, and hopefully it turns out good. So I don't know, let's see. So it is days later, and I have not worked on these pants in days, and now I need to make them in about 5-ish hours. So we're gonna see how that goes. But luckily I cut out the pants. The only thing that I have to cut out now is the pocket bags and the interfacing. The fabric is cut out. I did my best at trying to match the plaid. So we're gonna see how that goes. And we're gonna see if I can sew these up tonight because I also want to make a shirt tonight as well. So come on, let's see what we can get done. Alright, so I have finished steps 1 through 6 in the instructions, and that was pretty much this is the top. Stay stitching the top of the pants and making the pleat. Now, what's interesting about this pattern that I'm finding is that they have you base down the pleats on the entire length of the pants. So all of this is sewn down. And then you also have this, I don't even know if y'all can see that, but there's a dart sewn inside of the pleats, and I think that's supposed to help the pleat stay together at the top, because normally I would base down my pleat to keep it closed. So I'm gonna see how that works in the final garment. If I don't like it, then I'll just add a little basting stitch to base down my pleats. I will add a little top stitch to keep the top part of my pleat closed. So other than that, both fronts are done and we are moving on to the pockets and the pocket facing. Okay, so I have my pocket facings here, and did I mark the wrong? Okay, so this is the right side. So I need to turn them both over to the wrong side, and I need to fold down this edge here. Where's my ruler and my pen? Okay, so I'm gonna mark in 3/4, and when I fold it, that will give me 3/8, and that is the seam allowance for this pattern. Let's do these on both sides, and I did try to pattern match the facing as well, so I'm hoping that I actually did a good job. Take this tape off before I use my iron, and let's fold to the wrong side. Let me get my clapper as well. Where is it? Okay, got my clapper. Oh my gosh. Okay, before I start stitching my pocket facing down, before I edge stitch the side that I pressed, I'm going to line it up on my pocket lining so that I can edge stitch it down to the pocket lining in one go. And for my pocket lining, I'm just using a cotton bed sheet fabric. Line up my notches, and I did also try to pattern match my pocket facing, so I'm hoping that I actually did a good job and it's actually pattern matched to the pants. Ow. All right, so I got that pinned down, and now I'm going to edge stitch the side that we folded when we were at the ironing table. And this edge is on the bias, so I'm going to be careful not to stretch it out. And then after I edge stitch this, I'm just going to base down the pocket facing to the rest of the pocket bag lining. Ow, I keep poking myself with all of the pins. I'm going to do a scant 1/4 of an inch for my basting. All right, we have my pocket facing stitched to my pocket bag. All right, I have my first mistake, but luckily it's not a big mistake. I was supposed to cut 2 pairs of the pocket lining and I only cut 1 pair, so I need to cut 2 more of the pocket linings, which is not a big deal. So let me just go ahead and cut 2 more because you French seam them. I don't know why it didn't click in my head that I need 4 pockets because you almost always need 4 pockets. So somewhere around this point, I apparently forgot that I was making a YouTube vlog. I kept sewing. I finished the pants. I just did not finish filming the pants. So we're jumping from construction to boom, finished pants. But honestly, this gives us a chance to talk about what I actually think about them after trying them on. Okay, so first off, I really like the pants as a whole. I love the wide leg, I love the pleats, I love the plaid. I love that I was actually able to fully pattern match the plaid. But I do think that I made them slightly too big, and I'll show you a preview over here of me wearing them. I think that I could have sized down. I cut out the size 20 and I think I could have sized down to the size 18 and they still would have fit the way that I wanted them to fit. I wanted them to be a little bit oversized, but I also want them to fit my waist at the same time, if that makes sense. There is a lot more room in the waist than I prefer. Even like after I wore these pants out and even after I ate, I still had a lot of room in the waist area. I would rather the pants be a little bit more on the snug side than a little bit too loose in the waist, especially. And the other thing that I noticed about these pants is that for me, the rise is really, really, really high. I love a high-waisted pant, but this, I feel to me, is a ultra high-waisted pant. And then when I put on a belt with the pants, the waistband tends to sag down a little bit and it creates this fold up underneath the waistband because I think the weight of the belt is pulling it down to where it naturally wants to sit on my waist. And then I also think that the fabric choice might play a little bit of a part in this. Maybe I could have interfaced both waistbands instead of one to give it a little bit more structure, or maybe the rise is just entirely too high for my body. Overall, I do not think that this is a problem with the pattern itself. I think the factors that I mentioned before are playing a part in how the waistband is behaving. If I make these pants again, and I actually think that I will, I would definitely size down. Instead of making the 20, I would cut and make the size 18. I'd also look at shortening the rise slightly. And depending on the fabric that I choose to use in my next make, I might look at adding a little bit more structure to the waistband to make sure that it behaves and sits as it should with or without a belt. That is one thing that I'm really learning about sewing. Getting the garment finished is one thing, but finishing the garment and then seeing how it wears on your body is completely different thing. Wearing it tells you what you like about the pattern, what you don't like about the pattern, and it also gives you little tweaks that you can change for your next make. But even with the fit changes that I would make, I still really like this pair of pants and I'm going to wear them. They're dramatic, they're wide leg, they're plaid. It's a nice fall transition piece and it's definitely staying in my wardrobe. And I already know that I want to make another pair because I know exactly what I want to tweak. If you made the Protea Pants, tell me what you thought about the fit, especially when it comes to the waistband and the rise. If you want more sewing vlogs, pattern reviews, pattern fails, fit adjustments, and whatever else happens in my sewing room, don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye, guys.